Feminism literary criticism. Does it talk about women empowerment? We will discuss the features of feminism right now. Hi dear learners, welcome back to our lesson on critical approaches. Critical approaches are sometimes called lenses, as there are different perspectives when we look at a piece or several pieces of literature. A lot of you may ask, what are the limits or benefits of each form of criticism? Are some forms more correct than others? That's a hard question. Every literary approach has its own uniqueness. You and I are unique. We have our strengths and weaknesses. But what I know is the literary approaches will help us understand the beauty of literature. Today, we will focus on feminism. During the Miss Universe Philippines competition held almost a month ago, I heard common words from the candidates. They were phenomenal Filipina, empowered women, women's advocacy, and among others. Do you think they are under the characteristics of feminism? Feminism is an ideology that has always been highly controversial. It asks such questions as, do women have too much or too little power? It is not only controversial as far as traditional defenders of the status quo are concerned. Some women feel that they are in favor of equality with men, but do not like the idea of feminism. It has been said that we live in a post-feminist age, and some contend that the main goals of feminism have been realized. So, that is quite unnecessary for feminists to continue their argument against male domination. Feminism, however, is also controversial in the sense that different feminists mean different things by the term. So many writers have written about feminism, and what are the common features of feminism? It focuses on the roles, positions, and influences of women within literary texts concerned with the impact of gender on writing and reading. Critique of patriarchal culture. Male fears are often portrayed through female characters. Maggie Holm and Rebecca Walker in Wikipedia in 2010 stated that the history of feminism can be divided into three waves. The first feminist wave was in the 19th and early 20th centuries. The second was in the 1960s and 1970s, and the third extends from the 1990s to the present. The first feminist wave was in the 19th and early 20th centuries. It focused on the promotion of equal contract and property rights for women, and the opposition to chattel marriage and ownership of married women and their children by their husbands. However, by the end of the 19th century, activism focused primarily on gaining political power, particularly the rights of women's suffrage. The second of feminist was in the 1960s and 1970s. It focused on the civil rights movement. It raised the issues of equality and justice. In fact, Flanagan in 2005 said that feminist movements waned in Chicago thereafter as they did across the country, reviving during the 1960s with new movements seeking to use the law and legislation to overturn institutionalized political and economic inequality. It means that the second wave of feminists wanted to get the justice in political view and also equal salary in economic. And let's proceed to the third wave, and gender and sexuality are the main focus on the third wave. Feminism in this wave said that gender is created of patriarchy, not God. It makes terms masculine for the stereotype of men and feminine for the stereotype of women. Gender is also determined by the culture. It makes women to be dressed with pink color. It also constructs women to be weak. For the men, they are doctrined to be strong. Based on the ideology, feminism can be divided into five: liberal feminism, radical feminism, Marxist feminism, socialist feminism, and black feminism. Let's proceed to liberal feminism. Liberal feminism argues that all humans have same rational ability. Liberal feminism tends to look for the same equality between men and women. Based on it, liberal feminism persuades women that they have capability to be same equality and ability with men. Thus, it focuses on women's ability to show that they have the same rational thinking and maintain it through their action. Liberal feminism looks for the equality in all aspects like social, politic, and economic. Radical feminism claims that women are always pressed by men. Thus, they have to fight them back. They have strong opinion that men are their enemies so that they cannot live with them. If radical feminist marries with men, it means she serves, lives, sleeps with the enemy. Radical feminism focuses on politics. Radical feminism tends to be lesbian. It is the way to separate them with men. They make their own community, which is called lesbian. The Marxist feminism focuses on the class. It wants to fade the class because labor women have lower class than men. The impact of it, women get the salary lower than men. Based on the Marxist feminism, patriarchy makes the relationship between men and women like the landowner with his labor, men as the landowner and women as the labor. The Marxist feminism also states that marriage is a place for women exploitation. It stated it because women are obligated to do everything in domestic area without salary. The fourth one is socialist feminism. When we say socialist feminism, it argues that social construction is the main reason of injustice toward women. Women then have been condemned to their oppressed status by the same social forces and relations which have brought about the oppression of one class by another, one race by another, and one nation by another. It is the capitalist system, the ultimate stage in the development of class society, which is the fundamental source of the degradation and oppression of women. And the last one is the black feminism. Black feminism claims it is the hardest movement even from the feminism because the oppression not only comes from the white men but also from the black men. Feminism also rejects the binary opposition. Binary opposition is the separation between men and women. It is made by patriarchy to give advantages to men. It also makes the stereotype of women. Here are some examples of binary opposition. From the binary opposition above, the advantages go to men. Based on the occupation, men are given the opportunity to work in public area. And to work in public area, men are given the chance to get high education. Indirectly, it impacts to their economic life. They will be independent because they have skill, education, and a chance to work in public area. Different with men, women are not allowed to work in public area, so they are not obligated to get high education. These are typical questions when we analyze a text, especially if it focuses on feminism. As for our example, to be honest, I love reading the work of Sylvia Plath's writing. She's one of my favorite authors, and one of her famous poems is Metaphors. It talks about the life of a pregnant woman, but she has another poem entitled Mushrooms. Are you familiar? I'll show you the copy of the poem. I guess this is a good example for feminism. This poem was published in 1960, which many critics believe that this can be interpreted as a feminist struggle and growth to greater self-awareness. The poem shows the mushrooms growing and forcing their way into being. After the 1950s, many positive changes happened. The women's equality movement has mushroomed. As analyzed by Chutarago on her research, she mentioned this analysis. These are some lines found in the poem, like nobody sees us, stops us, betrays us. The small grains make room. That's in line 7 or 7 to 9. Women cannot be underestimated. They may be treated as earless and eyeless. That's on line 15 and 16. But one day they will challenge the beliefs and values of the patriarchal society. You know, as the poem continues, women are described as an integral part of the everyday life who do not dare to ask anything in return. As you can see on the lines, died in water, on crumbs of shadow, bland-mannered asking, little or nothing. So many of us, you see, they are repeated. The poem criticizes the women themselves. They should gather and ask for their rights more aggressively. They should step out of the role of a housewife. Well, the whole poem has a powerful effect despite the fact that women are compared to such ordinary things like mushrooms, using various literary devices such as metaphor or allusions. Alright, this is just the overview of the mushroom poem analysis. You may continue analyzing it based on the guide questions I posted. To conclude, feminism is a movement because there is injustice toward women. Men dominate the women in all aspects of life such as social, politic, and economic. Men can dominate them because there is a system that gives advantages to men. This system is called the patriarchy system. Feminism is such a long discussion, but this is what I can tell you about the overview of feminism. If you find this video helpful, please share, like, and subscribe to my channel. Happy learning! See you!